Hey everyone, and welcome to day 24 of Lenormarch. It's the last two cards of the series. Da-da-da-da. So tonight we are looking at the anchor and the cross. So the anchor has that feeling of something that is strong and secure and long-lasting. It does normally relate to work, your job that lasts a long time. You know, you let the anchor down onto the seabed and it's designed to stay there and keep everything stable. So it's a stable job, whatever that happens to be. It's something that anchors you. It's where you're rooted in life. But again, I feel like it's whatever it is, it's long-term and designed for long-lasting, unless there's something crazy that's sitting next to this particular card. I read that it can relate to ancestry because, again, it's got that sort of long-term feel to it, so I can understand that. Or long-term goals, reliable situations, stable living conditions, and probably determination as well, because, again, I just keep feeling this sort of longevity with this thing, persistence, and you know, you're insisting on something that or you insist it wants to you insist it's going to work, therefore you persist. That's what I'm trying to say. It can relate to a cruise ship itself because of the anchor, I understand, but normally I would see it as something that's closely related to where you are anchored, including your job. Now we move on to the cross, which is a really interesting one. Sorry, I should say too, the anchor is reliable situations too. If it's not your actual job, it's something else that's reliable. If it's, yeah, I'm sure you could use it in spreads for something pertaining to a reliable, ongoing situation. So back to the cross. Well, normally it's not a groovy vibe, is it? You're looking at things like grief and pain and hardship and burdens, difficulties, challenges and suffering. To put it in a nutshell, that's what I get. It can spell remorse and regret, which is not something we want to do. You don't want to have to regret anything, do you? But it's, yeah, that sort of disappointment. Maybe some fears can come up through this. It's very, very challenging energy. I remember reading also that the cross can mean something you feel obliged to do. So that's where the burden comes into, and it's like, you know, don't really want to have to kind of deal with that, but what else can I do? And so obligations, did I say that before? I don't think so. Hardships. It's just uneasy with the cross, isn't it? It's burdensome and it's uneasy and it's not groovy. But of course it does for some people, depending on the situation, relate to religion as well. So it can be quite spiritual maybe, if that's their way of living their religion, or an organised religion. What else is it about the cross? I'm just going to have a look in my book. Fate, destiny. Fate or destiny is about to test you. That's something I read and wrote down. That's interesting. Karma, burden, worries, concerns and pains. Sadness, guilt, suffering, despair, uneasy. So that's what my little notebook says. I wrote down, now this might be from the German philosophy. On the left of the cross, they are abolished or finished here. It's over, it's done. But on the right of the cross, it is enforced strength. So I do think that might have been Claire, Hex Claire again. And also the card above is pushed by destiny in a positive way, but the card below the cross relates to, oh yeah, it gets depressed. It gets squashed down by the cross. So that's obviously when you're doing a grand tableau. But I think that's interesting, and I'll probably play around with that. And did I read also it can relate to illness, like honestly being ill, unwell, physically sick, mentally or emotionally unwell. So I think that's it. And just drained generally. It's not groovy. It's a shame we've got to kind of end on the cross, isn't it? Okay, so the question. So Kelly says, I see these trying to maintain stability through difficult times. What are some of the things that you do to stay grounded and get through those times in your life when you need to get to the other side of a circumstance? Okay, well, for me, I do tend to go into my cave because it's very Scorpio to do so. And with a Taurus moon, if you saw my earlier vid, I feel coming home to my sanctuary is always a positive thing. It's where I can sit in peace and look at what's going on. So I tend to go within and really analyze what's buzzing around in my mind and in my belly. If I have to write it out, I will. Sometimes I just sit there and do a bit of NLP and see the whole situation in a film. And one NLP exercise is to play it in reverse and then play it again with silly, ridiculous papa music or something you deem funny underneath that scene. If it's something that has happened to you that's very, very upsetting. Because what it is, it's helping you just kind of let go of the grief and see that out of every, negative situation, there can be a positive outcome or a little gift in every situation that's challenging. It just helps you detach from it emotionally by doing that exercise. But I think all in all, I sit quietly. I do tend to delve into the situation by myself. And always I will draw cards, I will journal, I will ask my higher mind to give me some answers through my dreams. If I need to, I'll go for a walk on the beach. For me especially works, if not in the bushland. Because that clears the energy, it clears everything out and just enables you a little bit like the anchor just to kind of settle down into it and get some answers. Otherwise, you're like the birds gone crazy. Your mind's just buzzing around and probably giving you all these conflicting images and ridiculous advice that isn't going to help you. But in order to alleviate the burden right here with the cross, that would be one of the things for me. If I need a healing or a massage, I'll get it. And then after that, if I really feel that I cannot gain any clarity on my own, I will go to a friend. If I feel that there's a person, one of my friends is actually willing to listen and can help me, I'll ask them if they wouldn't mind, sitting down with me, and I would ask for their advice. But sometimes I think it's just better to go to a healer or a counselor if it's something huge. And, if you go to a healer, it doesn't have to be this ongoing thing where counselors want you to come back again and again. And I really like that. So there's many different types of healers. And I think you can always find somebody that suits your needs. So that's something that I would do. So really, in a nutshell, I start with me. I'll go within. I'll draw some cards. I'll sit quietly by myself. Then I'll go into nature. If it's warm, I'll go for a swim. If I can't sort it out by then, I might ask a friend. If not, I'll go and get some extra healing from a professional one way or the other, depending on the situation. But I really think that if you can learn to quieten your mind, which is very, very challenging for me when things are really diabolical, but if you can settle into yourself, all the answers and solutions are there, certainly. So I think that's it for me. Oh, I keep putting my fingers in this. Sorry. It's very shadowy at night. I've just realized that. So I'm going to say have a wonderful evening or day, depending on when you're watching this. Thank you so much. And I look forward to moving on to day 25, where we look at some spreads. Take care and bye for now.